the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the WC podcast. Today, I'm very excited to have a longtime friend, dear friend of mine, Maria Jose Gatti, who is the president of Philanthropy and Community Engagement for MGM Resorts International. Maria, welcome. It's great to see you.
It's great to be here. It's fun. So I'm happy to be here as the vice president of MGM Resorts Philanthropy and Community Engagement Program. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, but I'd like to get started. For those who don't know you, I don't know who they might be because everybody knows you, Maria. Get us started by telling us where you were born, where you grew up, went to school, college. Take us all the way to your first job out of college.
Oh, wow. So I'm originally from Ecuador in Latin America. My dad is Argentinian. He was a professional soccer player that got sold to a team in Ecuador, met my mother. They got married, had 3 wonderful kids, me being one of them. And we moved here when my dad retired. So anyone that's familiar with soccer, they have early retirement.
Short careers.
Short careers, yes, but he had a very successful one. And my mother had an uncle that lived here. So they decided to move, the family relocated and moved us here to Las Vegas in 1989. So I was about 14 years old when I came to the States. Do the math. I'm 30 now. And I've been here ever since. Las Vegas is definitely the city I call home. I grew up and went to high school here. I graduated from Clark High School back in the 90s.
Wow.
Spent some time out of the country right after I graduated and then came back, started going to school.
Was Jimmy Kimmel there when you were there? Clark?
No, he's older than I am, so no. Right. He's a little older than I am.
I know he's alumni there.
Yeah, well, so is Stephen Horsford.
Wow.
So, but he's also older than I am. So, funny enough, my when I came back, I also became a mom very, very young. So I started working and going to school, and my first job was at the Culinary Training Academy, where our current senator was the fierce leader of that organization back then. So that was my first job right after, in the middle of college, but early in my career.
Is that you met Stevan when you were in the culinary?
Yes, that's right.
Stevan, shout out. You might be the number one of the fan club.
Hi, Stevan. But that's how I started the career, right? So I started as an executive assistant at the Culinary Training Academy. When Stephen came on board, he actually took over both Nevada Partners and the Culinary Academy and, spent about 13 years with them. Wow. Learned everything I know about this industry, the city, had amazing leaders, great mentors, Stephen being one of them, lots of opportunities. I usually used to tell him that he was on DSL, what we were all trying to dial up. So he taught us how to run quickly. Yeah. And years into the job, I started working and doing more of a student services type of approach. I like people. I have a finance degree. I realized early on that numbers are great, but people are even better. So, and that's when I met one of our presidents, Felix Rappaport, who used to
rest in peace. Yes,
one of the best that ever worked in this industry. I like to say, great mentor, great man. He hired me to work for MGM about 18 years ago, and 18 years later, I'm still here.
He spent time at MGM and Stations Casinos, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I met him. He was a board member at the Culinary Training Academy when he was over New York. And when MGM Resorts acquired Mandalay Group, then they moved him to Luxor. Yeah. And that's when he hired me to do his guest services. I was the director of guest services when I worked for him. So
that's so cool.
It was just an amazing story when he moved to the Mirage. I moved into corporate to do diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then a few years into the job, I started doing philanthropy. And I like to tell people I have the best job in the company.
Yeah. So. You get to give away all the money.
Yeah, it's not as easy as people think. It is not as easy as people think. Yeah. But it is. And I do work for a great company that means what they say. So it definitely adds value to the work that we do.
It's amazing how much we have in common because, as you know, I spent 20 years with that company. Irene Bustamante Adams, who's here with us now as well, and others like Dale, who you just ran into. And so, again, I think that, and now you talked about when you're telling your story, you know, mine is so similar. My dad played soccer in Argentina, went to Peru because he was hired by a team, met my mom, fell in love. I was born. So we have so many similarities in our stories, right? I think even though, again, they were thread from different places, it's that immigrant story that came here and is now, I'm sure your parents are immensely proud of you as well because of all that you've accomplished and continue to do. So let's talk about that role a little bit. Take us through what a day looks like in that role of Vice President of Philanthropy and Community Engagement for that company. What do you do every day?
Well, I happen to have the best team in the company. So I am one of the team members. There's 5 of us. And so we oversee corporate giving, which is MGM's allocation of dollars to support community initiatives across the country in every city that we operate. We also oversee the Employee Foundation, the MGM Resorts Foundation, and our volunteer program with our employees. So there's anything that has to do with community involvement, employee engagement, partnerships within our communities comes through our office. So our day is never the same. A lot of people think that all we do is attend events. That's not necessarily true. There's a lot of logistical pieces to it. We also contribute with a lot of information to our development teams. My day can include working with government affairs when the legislative session is open, to working with entertainment and some of our performers actually, or sports marketing. I mean, my day's never the same. A lot of people think it's just community work. No, it's a lot more. Then in order for a company to do philanthropy, it has to meet a business need, right? And that's part of the day-to-day, right? The employee population is the most important, 50,000 employees here in Southern Nevada, myself included. And then everyone else, our customers, our guests, all that has an impact on the work we do.
Largest private employer in our community, MGM Resorts. And when I left almost 15 years ago now, it was called Voice. Is it different now?
Yeah, it's called the MGM Resorts Foundation. Okay. So it's the same concept. Our foundation has the ability to allow employees to make donations directly to their nonprofit of choice without paying any of the overhead. So that was a commitment to the company back in 2002, I think, when we were formed. And it was an idea to make. It was a way to allow employees to be able to contribute to their nonprofits of choice without having to pay an administrative fee. Mm-hmm. At that point, I think we were using another nonprofit that does fundraising for companies, very well known. And the way they operate is they take a percentage of the funds raised. So at that point, the company decided that our commitment to community was stronger than that. So
From their own foundation.
Yes. So we created our own foundation, employee-driven. And if I bring you from 2002 to 2024, there's over $115 million distributed to our communities through the foundation. And
without that additional fees.
Without that additional fee. And those are mostly employees. Post-COVID, we did have the opportunity to partner with one of our vendors, and we do receive some customer dollars, but it's mostly like the keep the change type of ordeal from the slot machines. Yeah. So we do take customer dollars now, but the majority of the $115 million that has supported our communities and all kinds of areas across the country has come from an amazing group of individuals that work for our company.
That's awesome. And when we talk about these investments, these philanthropic investments or community engagement, I'm sure you have a few strategic priorities and goals. Can you share about those, how you measure them?
Yeah, so MGM Resorts International actually reset our philanthropy strategy in 2019. And part of it was to also be partner with the United Nations and their SDGs or sustainable goals, right? So we have a signed agreement in which we will support their efforts. We focus right now on hunger relief, workforce development, and quality education. So those are our three philanthropy pillars. But with that said, as a company, so my department's called Social Impact and Sustainability. I have two other counterparts, one in sustainability and one in DEI. So altogether, the three of us support out of the 17 goals, 10 that have an impact in our community. So the research was done to see what are the issues that affect our communities the most. It is really hard to do philanthropy and be everything to everyone. Strategically, it doesn't work, and it doesn't matter how much money you get, it's not enough, right? So being able to sit down and really identify what affects and benefits our community was really, really important. And those, on the philanthropy side, those three, workforce, education, and hunger relief, were some of the biggest. I mean, just here in Southern Nevada, we have a large footprint of restaurants and food distribution. So being able to say we're thinking outside the box and trying to solve for hunger, it's important. And we've been able to do that. In 2016, we established the Feeding Forward program, which, working with local government, UNLV, and also our sustainability team, we figure out a way to be able to donate food, convention food that hasn't been distributed or to get it gotten out of the kitchen to 3 Square, right? So that food is now ready for public consumption, where before it used to be disposed, go to the pig farm.
RC pig farm.
Yes, the pigs were very well fed, and there still are, just so you But, it's another way to think about how do we minimize waste, because waste is an issue, right, on the climate, and support our community. So that's the type of work that goes behind the scenes when we're trying to identify what it is that we want to do. We have a large workforce, but we're always looking for qualified individuals to work with us. We just, we have discussions about that. So workforce development was really important to us. And we need an educated workforce. So beyond just what people think of MGM Resorts as a hospitality, you and I just discussed this. We need marine biologists. We need lawyers, accountants. I think the only 2 jobs we don't hire for are doctors and nurses. Everything else, we have one.
Yeah, and engineering, again, the years I spent there, people didn't know we had people, underwater welders. They had to learn how to weld underwater or suspend themselves from the rock cliffs of the volcano or the Treasure Island Bay and rappel professionally. And so to do the maintenance work, to fix the lights and the things. So you have tons of occupations that you wouldn't think at MGM Resorts. How do, one thing I remember when you talk about the foundation is, in my time, again, it's been a long time, you would, through your paycheck, how you got paid, you would check a box and make your donations. Is there other ways now that employees at MGM Resorts can contribute to the company's philanthropic efforts?
The system stays the same, where we have an online system nowadays, so it's a little easier. But employees participate in all kinds of activities. So throughout the year, our HR teams and we have something called the SIS councils, Social Impact Councils. They will do activations inside the property where they would allow employees to either participate via payroll deduction or cash. And all that money gets raised and goes into the foundation, mainly into the Community Grant Fund. So the Community Grant Fund is one of the 3 ways that we issue dollars out into the community. The interesting thing about the Community Grant Fund is that the decisions that are made by employees. So it isn't that the executive team sits around and says, hey, who do we fund this year? We open an RFP every year. Qualified nonprofits within the areas and the districts in which we operate get to apply for those dollars, right? It's a very competitive process. And a group of employees, this year we had about 30 employees, vice presidents and below. So you'll have someone that's spa attendant sitting next to the vice president of partnerships, right? Reviewing grants and allocating dollars that are raised to support the community. So it's a pretty unique way of distributing dollars, but all those activations that we have, the payroll deductions, the special events, the contributions through the ticket redemption, keep the change, all that goes back into our communities.
That's great. Before I move on, I want to, I think, share something that we talked about off camera because it's so important. One of the members of our board is Brenda Larson Mitchell, our new acting superintendent of the school district, 5th largest in the nation, over 300,000 young people in the pipeline, graduating somewhere between 25 to 30,000 every year. That's a huge part of the workforce development for our region. And I was really happy to hear that, MGM is working better than ever with them. And if you would share a little bit about that culinary project that brought some of those students into the kitchens of MGM.
Yeah, so it was a really cool program led by our workforce team, in which we partner with the school district, right? So they have magnet programs around culinary, and students were able to audition in front of real chefs, some of the best in the industry, and we had 20 openings, allocated 20 openings for the students to come in and work at MGM Grand in one of our largest convention kitchens. Aside from Mandalay Bay, MGM Grand is our second largest, right? And the partnership was, it was just such a success, right? Like everything else takes a little work, right?
Yes.
But I will be very honest and say it was a lot easier to work with the school district now than it's ever been.
That's great.
So we had a signing party at MGM Grand. The president of the property, Mike Newbecker, was there to welcome all those new hires, graduates from the district into the workforce, right? And they all got their chef jackets and hats because they are part of our industry. I mean, when I talked about education as part of our pillars, this is exactly it, right? Being able to transition students from point A to point B, in this case, high school, into the workforce, but then also being able to provide the opportunity for them to continue their education. MGM has a partnership with NSHE. So we have a tuition reimbursement program.
Yes.
We also have the Opportunity Scholarship where students can go to school free, right? And so education doesn't end there. You may take a little different approach, but you have the ability to also tap into those benefits that MGM Resorts has once you become an employee. So who knows, maybe one of those kids or multiple or many of them will be running our restaurants in the near future because, like I said, they're working with the best talent.
And if they stay in the company, that's a benefit that I think is so amazing and not highlighted enough. If you stay with the company, you can earn your college degree. And it's not limited to just community college. You can go to UNLV or any other of the NSHE institutions, and the company will pay for that education. It's amazing benefit. Well, thank you for sharing that story. I know that I couldn't make it because I was traveling, but I did get an invite from Wanda Gisbert.
Yes.
Who, thank you for the invitation because my friend over here didn't invite me, but Wanda, sorry.
He says no.
But yeah, I thank you for sharing that because I think we need more of that. I'm proud that MGM is doing that, really engaging with our future workforce. And that engagement ends in 20 jobs, which is, just the beginning of their careers in the culinary field.
Yeah, and this is one example of the many things we're doing. I mean, we have a really nice partnership with Help of Southern Nevada and their Shannon West project. We had 6 interns this summer come in and work at our corporate office in some of our properties. And I'm happy to say that 2 of them have relocated, but we've kept 4 on board, right?
Nice.
Being able to provide kids that are in their homeless shelter an opportunity to find employment in a community that will support them, right? It's part of what we do, right? It may not be large numbers as people expect, but the commitment from our president down is we're here to support in what's needed, but it opening doors, right? Getting kids the ability, and I call them kids, but they're young adults, the ability to see the world with different eyes and an opportunity to see. We just hired a young woman that's going to work in security. And I happen to think that we have one of the best guys leading that effort. His name is John Flynn. He's an outstanding individual, right? So being able to connect a young adult to someone like him, just so they can see the progression, right? Because I think the issue, and you and I talked about this, is this new group of young adults sometimes don't see the potential in something, right? It's not a right away payoff, but once you are able to show them all the opportunities along the way, I think it opens up opportunities and their eyes to continue to stay and drive for more.
Yeah, I agree. So, my friend, I'm gonna brag a little bit about you now. So be ready. You've received several awards, including the Vegas Inc. 40 Under 40 Women to Watch in 2016, the Hispanic Association of Corporate Responsibility Young Hispanic Corporate Achiever in 2015, and the Woman Worth Watching in 2013, just to name a few. Tell us what this recognition feels like to you. Why is it important? What does it mean?
So I am going to be really honest and say that as flattered as I am, I'm not big on recognition. I think I love the work I do. And if I want to be recognized for anything, it's maybe being able to lead an amazing team, work under some really great individuals with a great company that's leaving a long-standing legacy of community impact. That's what I want to be recognized for, being able to give back. Awards are great, I'm sure, to get, but it's more about the work that needs to be done, the commitment to people, because the words don't mean anything to the people we serve. What really means something is when you put 20 kids into a job, or you take 4 kids from Shannon West and give them an opportunity that they didn't think they had.
Yep.
That's the best award I can get, I guess. So it's a little selfish, but that's where I get my height.
Yeah,
It's that. I'm flattered. I mean, it's nice to say that you're on a list somewhere, right? I just no, not necessarily my thing.
those of us who know you, Maria, so do know that that's what you're about. People, you've said it a few times. Now I know why in Peter Guzman's, annual gala, in December, that we always see each other. There's always a line of people waiting to dance with you. So Peter, I've told Peter he should charge for that. You should some revenue there, because Maria's line is like long. So he's missing out on an opportunity there, Peter.
I love to dance.
Yeah,
there you go.
There you go. So you did talk about people, and I think the next question has to do with that, because along the way, you've also had some mentors that have helped you. I know I did in that company. And so tell us about the great mentors that you've had, why you will always remember them, some of the great lessons that you've been able to get from them.
I was very blessed early on to have really good people in my life. The first person that ever took me under his wing was George Cease. He was the executive director of the Culinary Training Academy back then. I owe him my career.
Wow.
Very much. He was one person that took me in when I had very little knowledge. Brand new mom. I had a 4-month-old baby. And he taught me everything he knew about the culinary side of our industry. And he was patient. There was no mistake too big, no question that I couldn't ask. And he gave a young Maria Jose the confidence to break things and rebuild, which is really important when you're starting, right? At that point in my life, I just needed a really good job with really good benefits. And then next, Stephen Horsford comes along, and he promoted me right away. I keep telling this story because he promoted me to do payroll when I had no idea how to do payroll. Mm-hmm. And I was very popular for that Friday. I paid everybody double. But again, people that weren't afraid to give me a chance, even though sometimes I was probably not ready for it. They thought differently. And so being able to work alongside both of them for the first 13 years of my career was very important. 2 different personalities. Stephen, for those of you that know him, he's a go-getter. Nothing stops him. He's like, if there's a problem, we'll fix it, and we'll, just kind of a person. So he was a really, really great mentor for me. And I like to tease him now that when he was in my district, he represented my district. He used to work for me and not for him anymore, but that's not the case. But he was one of those. And then Felix Rappaport came along the way. Again, all 3 wonderful men that had a big impact. All 3 of them had something in common. And it was the way they led people. They led people with respect. They weren't hierarchical, so titles didn't necessarily mean much. It was who was doing the job. Felix was notorious for telling people that we need everyone in order to make a teamwork. And that's exactly how he led, right? It didn't matter whether you were the porter taking out his trash in his office or the vice president of hotel operations. He treated people with respect. And I think I learned that early on. I also learned that it was really important to me that I was present in my son's life as much as possible. So having the flexibility as a parent to attend meetings or soccer games was something that was always given to me. And as I grew in my career, I've been blessed enough to work with some really great leaders that have also allowed me to do the same. And today I work for a wonderful woman, Jyoti Chopra. She's our chief people and sustainability person, and she's incredible. The leadership in this company right now it's just amazing. They're really good people. Beyond being executives, both Bill Hornbuckle and Jyoti are just such great individuals that I don't know that I will call them my mentors, but those are the people I look up to and say, oh my gosh, they do it right.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's always been great leadership there. I'm grateful too for what I learned in that company over 20 years. It's helped me now. It continues to help me, I think. Now, I know, again, those of us who know you know that you like to give back to the community. One of the ways is you volunteer your time for the Board of Jobs for Nevada's Graduates, the Nevada's version of JA or Jobs for America's Graduates, right? And so tell us about that organization, because that's one way. Another way, you talked about the Shannon West homeless program, which we support as well. But it's one of the ways that our worlds collide now that I'm here at Workforce Connections. Jobs for Nevada's Graduates is one of the programs that we work with to support those young folks, again, who have barriers in their life, but to get them past those barriers into good career options. So tell us about what that organization means to you and why you love to volunteer there.
Oh, I love Jobs for Nevada Graduates. I think it's the only program right now in the city that actually has a very unique focus, right? We have a lot of graduating programs or school programs, right? And really good ones. The difference with Jobs for Nevada Graduates is the fact that they actually work with students that are on the bottom 2% of the graduating class. So they're not necessarily the A, B students that are going to graduate regardless. We do have some of those, but the majority of our kids come from the bottom of the class, right? And they bring them in, and aside from allowing them to pick up and get ahead and graduate on time, the goal of the program is post-graduation. So this has been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. Is we have all these graduating programs. We graduate all those kids, and I think you and I have had this conversation before. We graduate all those kids, and because I've been the mother of a graduating 18-year-old, they have no idea what they want to do with their lives, right? So you graduated them, that's great, but what happens then? Jobs for Nevada Graduates comes in, and because the reporting and is based on the outcome of self-sufficiency, then they don't stop at graduation. Kids have to have a path, whether it's workforce, military, education, something that will make them self-sustainable long-term with good paying jobs. So that's the big difference, right? It's not necessarily just get a kid a job. Today, you need to get a kid a job that can provide them with self-sufficiency, being able to pay for rent and groceries. In some instances, we're dealing with kids that are part of our foster care system. So we all know that if they are lucky and have a good family, the family will probably support them for a while after foster care ends. But those that don't have that support system are left out. Programs like Jobs for Nevada Graduates provide that support, right? They partner with others. So they have a really good partnership with other nonprofits to make sure that if there's technical training that they need, they partner with someone like Tech Impact to provide the technical skills kids need in order to get a job. That's why I love them so much. They have really great graduation rates. Actually, our current interim superintendent sits on the board as well. And when we had the opportunity to meet with Brenda and just show the numbers don't lie, right? Every donor wants to know the numbers. How do we get, when we show their success rate based on the demographics we serve, it is one of the most impactful programs we had. And this program hasn't been here long enough. It's been here 10 years. It was brought to the state by back then Governor Sandoval, trying to address the education gap, right? Education to employment. How do we get that? And this was it. It's under great leadership. I think Rene Cantu is doing a really, really great job leading that organization. But it takes an army to get, our young adults from point A to point B. And it's programs like this that make it happen.
It is. And just like that in casual conversation, you mentioned another MGM alumni because Brian or Governor Sandoval was also with MGM for a while. So it's, that company touches so many lives in our state. One of the things, again, that a lot of people talk about today is trying to maintain a healthy work-life balance. Mental health awareness is so important. And employers of choice, employers that are really focusing on retaining the talent they have, because it's really hard to go find talent today. So retaining the talent they have are really doing innovative things, like whether it be healthy foods, whether it be snacks, whether it be the right amount of time for themselves, all these things. And so I know our research team found out about a sabbatical that you just took. And I'd love for you to share what did that mean for you in your life and how did that happen?
So I think it was 2020 when we actually 2021 coming out of the pandemic that our leadership team announced the sabbatical for employees that had been there for a certain amount of years. I had the privilege of being one of the first ones to take it on because I'm all about now in my life experiencing new things. And so you have no idea how important it's been, not just for me, but for other executives, the ability to take time off where you completely disconnect. And it's not 2 weeks or a week vacation. I had the pleasure of being out for 6 weeks. Had the opportunity to travel to Thailand and spend 4 weeks there. It was just this incredible.
Did you check your phone? Well,
no,
awesome.
no. They part of the sabbatical is that they actually disconnect you a little bit.
Nice.
And I do have a great team, right? So I did check the phone just to share pictures with my family and my team of this amazing experience.
Wow.
But that was introduced, and our president just took a sabbatical not too long ago, right? But it allows people to go back and get grounded. The work is always there. The work is important. The work, our industry, it's really important to the city. But so is the mental health and the well-being of our employees, regardless of what you do, right? You would say, well, maybe someone in a position can't take a sabbatical. Yes, they can, because we built really great teams to support the business. So if one person is necessary, I learned this early on in my career. A wonderful woman that I used to work for used to say that if you are needed to operate a department all the time, they can't operate without you. You're a liability to the company, not an asset. So you build teams to be independent thinkers and to be confident enough to be able to support you when you're not there. And I think this company's done that. And today, everyone, that's certainly, there's obviously levels on this thing, are able to take a sabbatical. I'm just asking, when is my next sabbatical opportunity?
When is it
when it's coming back up. But it's part of thinking outside the box and saying, in an industry that runs 365 days a year, how do we keep everyone engage and still find the balance? A lot of those individuals that have taken time off, and I'm talking about people that lead enormous teams. Our chief salesperson, Stephanie Glanzer, just took one, and she's been very public about how much that meant to her. Just shows you that finding this ground where you can actually enjoy family and time off without a distraction, it's really important to everyone.
So Thailand must have beautiful sceneries. Tell us one beautiful thing you saw that you'll always remember.
Oh, there's so many. I think Thailand is one of those countries where the people are amazing. Food is always great. Phi Phi Island was one of my favorite places. And I am a history geek. So my dad would say that I love old bricks. And so their history, they have the most beautiful Buddhist temples I have ever seen. So to pick one, I will pick one of each. I love the ocean. I love the beach, and Phi Phi Island was by far the most magical place I've seen. There's a piece to it. The location was amazing, but then their history, it's a rich history of conquering and reconquering of many, many tribes around that area. And their temples are magnificent.
Yeah. What about the food? What dish that you will never, always remember?
I love all Thai food to begin with. The only thing you have to remember is
Spice.
you need to ask them to lower the spice to baby levels. Curry is excellent. Their seafood is amazing. So I don't know that I have a favorite. I just know that I liked it all, as long as I told them beforehand that they needed to tone down the spice, or you would not be able to taste your taste buds for a week at least.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you got to do that. Besides the sabbatical, which seems like an amazing idea, and I'm congratulate Bill and the team there for doing that, for offering that to those executives who work 80-hour weeks sometimes, as you said, the weekends, the holidays. And so, but when you're not working, Maria, or volunteering in the boards you serve, what other hobbies, activities do you enjoy here at home?
Well, I enjoy a good walk with my dogs. I definitely enjoy that. I'm a huge soccer fan. It's more like fanatic type of thing, right? As some people will attest. We have a good old friend between you and I, Bo. He knows that I'm crazy about my soccer teams. So if I have free time, you will find me on the weekends watching a couple leagues at least.
Right.
Anything that has to do with the sport, I'm following. But I'm pretty, I love family time. I am the grandmother of 2 twins now. So 2 weeks old. It's their birthdays today. So I think my life's going to change a little bit in the sense that I will be spending more time with that. But I love the simplicity of, because my job is busy with a lot of people, my personal life is less busy with a few people. Yeah. Right. So I am very close to good friends. I like quiet times with quality people, good friends, sitting outside, maybe having a glass of wine, just talking, or family time on Sundays. Sundays are sacred in our family. We get together and we have a meal and interact with each other. Sometimes we love each other. Sometimes we love to slap each other around. But that's my hobby. My hobby is spending quality time with the people I care.
That's really good. And so us as football fans, we were really happy to see Copa America come to the United States, some games here in town at Allegiant. But next year, the World Cup will be here, and not just the USA, Canada, and Mexico, 3 countries hosting it. But are you going to try to make some time to? Okay.
Oh, yeah. My bucket list item is to go to games in all 3 countries.
Okay.
Right? If I can make it to all Argentina games, that will be. So for those that don't know, I'm a huge Argentinian fan. A lot of people say, why? You were born in Ecuador. Love for soccer comes from my dad.
Yeah.
So that's who I root for. And believe it or not, I didn't have an Ecuadorian jersey until last year.
Now you do.
Someone brought it for me, but I've had several Argentina jerseys. Yeah. So my goal is to go see every possible game I can get. Yeah,
and you're lucky because you'll be able to cheer for Argentina, for Ecuador, for USA as well. You'll have,
correct. All 3 in exactly that order. You just got the order correct.
Very good. Well, last question. I'm sorry that the podcast is coming to an end because I could talk to you for a long time. We're going to have you back. But we have an important question because I think, again, this story of, people who come from not much, but achieve great things. You're helping with jobs from that graduates. You're helping replicate that story for more. And I always think about if I could talk today with the knowledge I've gained in life to the 18-year-old me, I would have some great advice to give. They say that youth is wasted on the young, right? True. But what kind of advice would you give young women or men who are 18, as you said, right now, looking forward in their career aspirations, their professional life, and somebody sees themselves in you because they can relate where you came from and say, man, how do I live a life like Maria Jose Gatti, right? How do I become the Vice President of Philanthropy and Community Engagement and the largest employer in our region? How do I contribute to the community in the meaningful way she has? What advice would you give them?
Be patient with yourself, right? Things to get here took 27 years of work, of a lot of work, and always sometimes picking up the projects that no one else wanted to do. Be patient with yourself. Surround yourself with really good mentors, because I think that will help. That's what helped build my self-confidence in the sense that I could do anything. Because if something got broken, I had people that would stand by me and say, okay, how are we going to fix it, right? They didn't fix it for me. I had to figure out how to fix it. But be patient. I think this new generation wants things to happen quickly, and I don't know that quickly translates to where you need to be. Right? There's maturity, there's patience, there's trial and error. We've all had bad days. We've all had bad bosses too, right? But I would tell them that be patient, and, just because, and I was talking to a group of kids the other day that they didn't know what they wanted to do when they went into college. I said, I have a business degree, right? Finance background. It's helped me enormously throughout my career, because I can actually understand a balance sheet and all the logistical pieces of a budget. But what I really wanted to do was work with people, right? So I did get guest services. And then little by little, my career just completely changed to put me in the place I'm in. It was trial and error. So never be afraid to take a job, because you're never really going to be ready for it in your mind until you take it. And then you'll get ready when you're in it. We've all taken jobs that we thought, well, I don't know how they picked me because I'm not necessarily the most qualified, but we did it, right? So be patient, take risks, and always do the right thing. And make sure you find a job that actually matches your belief system, right? That's one of the big important things. I do this work day in, day out. I love what I do, but part of it is because it actually aligns with my values, right? It's giving back in a good way, not to brag about it, but to really impact, because I get to see the impact that this company has in our communities.
That's great advice. I'm so proud of you, of knowing you, but our friendship, and seeing how you continue to make great impact. 27 years, but I keep doing the math to one. I can't figure it out. She keeps throwing numbers and they're not adding up. She looks 30, but I know the math is not working, Stevan, so you're going to have to help me. Maria, thank you for being here, taking the time to do the podcast with us. We look forward to continuing to work, together in the ways that we are, our work brings us together. Sometimes it's through MGM, as we explained, Jobs from Nevada's Graduates, the Shannon West Homeless Center. But working with you is a pleasure. So thank you.
Likewise. I look forward to the trouble we can cause.
Yes. All right. Well, that's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We hope to see you at another one. And until then, stay safe. Maria, thank you for staying over to doing our bonus segment called Against the Wall. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. I'm going to start with a segment called Your Favorites, give you a category, and you're going to give me your favorite thing in that category. Let's start with an easy one. Your favorite food?
Asado.
Favorite wine for dinner?
A blend, red blend.
Your favorite car?
Don't have one.
Favorite musical group or artist?
Luis Miguel.
Favorite movie?
Well, Eat, Pray, and Love.
Favorite book?
Eat, Pray, and Love. The book.
Yes. Favorite sports team?
Oh, Argentina, national soccer team. Yes.
We just talked about it. How about your favorite Vegas sports team?
The Aces.
Awesome. 2 times champions. Yes. Go girls.
Go girls.
So you did great on the first section. The second one is called Tough Choices. I'm going to give you 2 choices and hopefully you can pick one. You ready?
Yes.
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
Drive to your vacation or fly there?
Fly.
Once you get there, hotel or Airbnb?
Either.
When you retire, will it be on a ranch or in the city?
Neither.
Salsa or ballroom dancing?
Salsa.
I know that. I knew the answer to that one. Day by the ocean or hiking in the mountains?
Day by the ocean.
If you were a superhero, would you rather have the ability to fly or to breathe underwater?
Fly.
Same situation. You can either speak with animals or speak many foreign languages.
Speak foreign languages.
All right. You already do like 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of the hard ones. Actions or words?
Actions.
Justice or grace?
Grace.
You finished the second segment. Are you ready for the third one?
Done.
It's called Finish the Sentence. I'm going to give you about 95% of the sentence. You're going to finish it for me. If Maria could visit any place in the world, it would be...
Turkey.
The best part about living in Southern Nevada is...
The people.
Maria's favorite thing about her job at MGM Resorts is...
To give back.
If Maria could travel back in time, she would travel to...
That's a good one. Italy.
All right. And 3 words that describe Maria are...
Feisty, passionate, committed.
Yes, yes, and yes. I agree. Recording the WC podcast here today with us was...
Incredibly fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here with us today, Maria.
Thank you.